Hey everybody, Orange Podcast Bad episode 20. Man, this is going so fast. I'm opening up all the chat rooms now. If you're joining us live, send us a note. We'd love to hear from you. Hold on, I'm gonna get the one over on X. I can never get it to open up over here. Let me get that opened up. All right, we are all the chat rooms are open, so yeah, give us a chat. Drop us a message. I look, as long as it's not something that we have to ban from the chat because you're just a ridiculous retard. We don't
Yep.
care what you put in there.
Right.
Tell us about your X account. Tell us about your Rumble pot. We don't care. We're cool, man. Just let us know what's going on in your part of the world. But I've been sitting on this thing, Paul. The executive order by Donald Trump to reduce drug prices. You and I have not had a chance to talk about this yet at all. Um,
Nope.
and I wanted to get what was your initial thoughts on it because who doesn't like cheap drug prices? I mean, it sounds great, but there's a whole lot more to this than just on face value. We're going to pay top country class prices because that's not the way any of this really works. So what was your initial thoughts on this executive order? And now we're doing these things by executive order and instead of legislating them.
So, my first thought, Sean, is we need to legislate, right? I'm a big fan of executive orders. I think he's done some that are just absolutely, top of the line. Let's get it done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not standing around waiting on you guys. What aggravates me is, for example, the House GOP, quietly, without much fanfare, did not pass or did not, what's that term?
They didn't
Uh,
even introduce a bill.
Collate or whatever the USAID.
Oh,
They didn't
codify. Codify's that
codify. That's the
popular
word I'm
word.
thinking of. Thank you. Yeah, they didn't codify USAID. They didn't codify some of these other things. And it was real quiet and in the background. And the Senate GOP is really pissed off about it. So I think with the prescription uh, thing that we're looking at, I think if they're going to cut those prices, and what he said was it's going to be best value. Whatever country has got the lowest price, that's the price that we're going to use. And I think on its face, that's the way to go. But I also think, dude, there's a whole lot behind the scenes that is not, uh, CNBC uh, worthy, or it's hard for me to say, but it's just not. A lot of the stuff is just not how we want to do things. You know what I mean? They're taking these shortcuts, and maybe not shortcuts, but they're manipulating
The
things
cart
that
is in
if it
front.
was the liberals doing it, Sean, we would be raising hell.
Yes, the cart is pulling 12 horses up a hill. They've got the
Yeah.
cart way out in front.
Yeah.
So the ultimate goal was in 16, and he tried this in 16 and failed mostly because of Paul Ryan as speaker at the time. But also the Supreme Court just said that no, this is not constitutional what you're trying to do. Although we all appreciate you want to fix. Everybody hates Obamacare. Even the people that say they love Obamacare hate Obamacare. They just say they
Sure they
love it
do.
because of their
Yeah. The
ideology.
worst. Yeah.
First observation, this thing has no teeth. Drug companies don't have to do a damn thing because of this executive order. It's non-enforceable whatsoever at all. And Trump's, as much when he was giving a speech about it, admitted it. And he goes, look, if you guys don't do it, then we'll get Congress involved. So they're not going to do anything to begin with. I want to
Right.
get into what the United States is the only country left in the world that doesn't have socialized healthcare. So when his friend buys the fat drug in London, yeah, hear me out. Uh,
Okay.
his when his friend buys a fat drug, a fat shot in London for $40, but he pays $1,400 in New York. Why do you think that is? And it's not because the people in London just get to pay a better price. It's because your taxes are so much higher, the drug is subsidized, which is part of the socialized
Part of the
medical
social life.
system
Right. Yeah.
across all of the West,
Yep.
and honestly, across the world. The United States is the only one left without socialized medicine, which is why people who can afford to come get surgeries here, come get procedures done here. They'll fly it, or Canadians drive in, Mexicans drive in,
Yep.
because you break a hip, you can have that thing replaced in a couple of days,
Yep.
whereas you're going to be bedridden for 6 months in Mexico or 12 months in Canada,
In the
waiting on
UK.
this
Yeah.
procedure.
Oh, just imagine that. Or you go on a waiting list
Yep.
where, you know, I broke my hip, but I'm going to sit here motionless until October when you can see me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No way, dude. Yep.
In constant pain.
Yep.
Right. No, and that's so. Again, the $40 the dude paid for the fat shot in London, $1,400 here. It was still $1,400 total cost paid to the pharmacy benefit manager, right, through the insurance company. Like, there's a big chain that the money kind of trickles down through back to the pharmaceutical maker. $1,400 was paid in both countries. The person in London didn't see it because uh, $1,360 of it was subsidized because they pay a marginal tax rate of about 70% of their income.
Right.
We're at about 44%. If we do this, we could
Right.
go to 70% tomorrow
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
fund it,
Yeah.
which is why I say this
And
is
you know what? That's no bueno. We don't want that. And I don't understand. Well, I'm saying that esoterically, that I don't understand why nobody is saying that out loud
you're never going
on
to hear.
either side of the aisle, Sean. On either side of the aisle, right?
Here's Orange Podcast Bad. You heard it here first. We're talking about it. Share this with all your friends. This is the real story of why this doesn't work. And there's
Right.
more to it, but that's the first part. So, London guy and New York guy are effectively paying the same amount. One's getting it sucked out of their paycheck in tax dollars,
Right.
the other one's paying it in cash after their insurance reimbursement. Now,
Right.
insurance, you could get into that argument, which is it's a commonwealth. It's everybody sharing in a cost, right?
Commonwealth.
It's socialism by definition.
Yeah.
We're stuck with it, but it is a cost share that at least you don't have to buy into it. I mean, Rush never paid for it, even with, and they found the Affordable Care Act with that mandate date. The United States Supreme Court called that's a tax, and you can't do that because you didn't write it into the Constitution the right way. You
Right.
can't mandate.
Yeah.
So if people choose, like Rush Limbaugh famously said, I after I started to become start making some money, I dropped healthcare and paid for everything and just said I don't have insurance. And he goes, I paid far less prices on everything, and I got the same wonderful healthcare all of you got. And for those of you that need health insurance, buy health insurance. But there's people for whatever reasons, or people
Exactly. Yep.
in their in their 20s that are very healthy that would have no reason to even look at an employer provided healthcare plan that you're paying $800 a month for
Sure.
as your portion, right?
Oh, sure. So
There,
I'm on Medicare and I have a supplement. So we had to go to the exchange to get coverage for Tanya, my wife.
all right.
And so we went out there and got the shittiest insurance you could ever get was $1,000 a month.
God, Jesus.
So I get this new job and it has Cigna. So I can't get just my wife. It's got to be the family plan because I'm the employee. So I've got to have it. But it's $525 a month, full coverage for both of us.
Hmm.
So I'm dropping all of her other crap from the exchange
Oh yeah.
because even though I still have Medicare and Part N supplement, I'm, you know, hell, 525 a month. Hell yeah, I'm in for my wife. She's got Cigna. She's got VSP. Uh,
Well, and that's
Vision. She's got Delta Dental. She got all this top quality stuff, which was none of what we had
with the
going into
ACA.
the exchange. It was just, dude, that system is so terrible, Sean. It is so terrible.
I don't know if you remember, but once Barack got that thing in, they hired a bunch of obviously minorities, things like that, to build the website, and the website crashed on opening. And
Yeah.
everybody was required to get it, and most companies dropped
Yep.
people because of the extreme cost increase. And people are like, "What do you want me to do, Barack? I can't even
Yeah.
log into your stupid website." Yet the
Yep.
whole thing's been a joke since the start. Obviously, what he did, he failed. Thank God. But what he was trying to implement was a one-payer system, meaning government-run health insurance.
Yep.
Which, again, let me remind you, countries that say that you have free health care, no, you don't. You have
No, you
government-run
don't.
health care,
That's
and
right.
that's why when you need a serious surgery, you fly from London to New
Yep.
York, to have that triple bypass or
Yep.
whatever it is that
Yep.
is really scaring the shit out of you right now.
Right. That's exactly right. And so what we have ended up doing is when we fly home to the
Yeah.
Balkans, to our summer home over there, we go into the Bosnian system and it is good quality.
Hmm.
It is inexpensive. You don't have to have a group ID number and all that kind of stuff. You just you just go to the guy. So you live in this town and you're like, "Hey, the I need a root canal," you know?
Sure.
Hey, and you go there and you talk to the guy and the damn thing's $300 and out of pocket is like 50, you
Right.
know, and that's just the way it is. So
Well, part of that is, and that happens here in the States too. I've learned years ago, probably 6, 7 years ago, I had a health scare. And I was at the time, they wanted me on some pharmaceuticals, or I just have to do regular doctor's appointments. And I had employer provided health insurance. It wasn't very good, but it also wasn't very expensive.
Sure.
And so I just started going to the doctor. It was a regular GP specialist, didn't matter. I'd just walk in and say, "Hey, what's today's cash price? I don't have insurance." And they
Yeah.
go, "How do you not have insurance? You have a job at such and such." I was like, you look, it's something with their HR department. What's the cash price today? I literally will pay you cash before I go in." And they'd be like, "No way." And they're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
oh," and then they would look at the surprise on these people's faces. "Oh, your visit's only gonna be $75
Yeah.
today."
It's like this much difference. Yeah.
And they're like, I was like, That's strange, isn't it? Because when I had at my last job, I was paying you guys 150 out of my own pocket, plus the insurance money to have it pay insurance prices
Right.
versus cash price. And
Right.
that's something I don't think people do enough of is actually just ask that question. What's your cash price today?
What? Yeah.
I'm not asking for a payment
Yeah.
plan. I can
Yeah.
pay today. What's the cash price of this?
Yeah.
And
So we that's a good point you bring up. We've got a local dentist here in Hawkins. Small town guy. His dad was a dentist. The the facility is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch that's
yep.
been converted. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's typical small town kind of stuff. And we go to him for our dental stuff, and he says, "Look, I mean, every single time, this is what I love about the guy." He says, "Look, if we go through your insurance, your out of pocket is going to be X. If you go direct to me, your out of pocket's going to be this." And usually, it's just nominal. It's not like $800 difference, or you know what I mean. It's just a nominal amount, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, I'll just pay out of pocket. And so he has set up his own. I guess I'll call it a line of credit.
Oh sure.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
says,
yeah, yeah.
hey, if we think there's $5,000 worth of stuff in your mouth that needs to be fixed.
Right. Can you pay $200 a month?
Yeah, if you could do that, right. And it's always cheaper than insurance. And we have Delta Dental, which is a recognized, thing.
One of the big ones.
Yeah, one of the big ones. And he's like, hey, if you want to do that, we'll do that. And Tanya and I are like, oh hell yeah.
Right. Well, and one of the
Yeah.
other, because I've been it's through the pharmacy side. Oh, and I've heard a lot of the stories. One of the things with insurance too, especially the government, the ACA, is that their reimbursements are like 6 months to get. And so a small practice, like if you're on government Delta Dental,
Oh
because you're
yeah.
on the
Your
ACA.
DSO
So
is
these dentists,
unbelievable.
like if they
Yeah.
get 200 a month out of you, they got $200 a month coming in, whereas they got to wait six
Yeah.
months to get anything out of the ACA
Right.
plan.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, just like anything else, you have to have a monthly income. You got to pay the light
Yeah.
bills, you got to pay employees,
That's right. Yep.
and it makes no business sense to promote anything ACA, Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, because it's written into the contracts, and you're mandated by law to have to
Yeah, you're
accept it.
mandated. So yeah. Yep.
But they don't, and then right, then they argue with these doctors, dentists, ophthalmologists about something you did 6 months earlier that you're waiting to actually get paid for the service you did.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, no, we don't. We're not paying for any of that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
God, I would hate to be, would actually hate to be somebody in private practice today, and that kind of makes sense why you see in our country you're going to these massive, massive, massive per state, like two different competing healthcare companies because the general practitioner can't
Right.
afford to wait 6 months to get paid
They can't.
to have a
They don't.
practice anymore. So
You
they
know,
get
a
stuck working
smaller,
for.
yeah, yeah, a smaller operation that it's called DSO, Day Sales Outstanding. You can't afford to have your day sale outstanding go 90, 120, 160, 190 days. You
Right.
can't maintain that as a small business. You just can't.
So all of these things we're talking about it, and I'm sure more is going to come to our. We'll think about it in the American healthcare system. Again, it's the best healthcare system in the world. If you say no, it's not, then why do people literally fly here to have procedures done?
Right.
Because they can't get
That's
them in a timely
exactly what they
fashion,
do. Yep.
and there is no other country in the world, and our system is broken, and it's still the best system in the world.
Yep.
Best system in the
100%.
world.
Yep.
You can get treated. You can get that specialty surgery, that life-saving surgery,
Yep.
and you're not going to have like you've heard these stories out of Canada, true or not, I believe a lot of them, where they're talking people into they're like, well, dude, you're 77 years old. Why would you want to bypass? Why don't you just do assisted officide or whatever
Assisted dying.
right.
Yeah.
Right? You go to that facility, and that's what you're gonna get if what Trump's trying to do with this executive order, like that puts we will be in total socialized medicine, and Donald Trump will go down officially as the most effective Democrat president in the history of the country. Because Bernie Sanders loves his plan, and Ro Khanna today,
Yep. Rokada
Democrat
said
socialist,
today. Yep. He did.
introduced a bill to codify it.
Yep.
So that tells you Donald Trump is on the wrong side of this. And I want to know who advised him to do this. And I'm going to bet it's progressive socialist Bobby Kennedy. And listen, I like that Bobby wants to make kids healthy again. But Bobby Kennedy, when he was running for president, told you in an interview when asked,
Yep.
I would, if I could get the consensus, because he knows it would take a constitutional amendment, I
Right.
would take away all of your guns. He is a progressive socialist. He's
Yep.
always been a progressive socialist. Nothing's going to change that. And I think
Yep.
the information that him and other people around Trump are telling him, this is not fair that London only pays $40 for the fat shot.
That's
And we
right.
pay $1,400, but
Yep.
didn't explain to him why.
Why?
It's
Yeah.
not that Pfizer, not that I'm a fan of Pfizer or any of the other ones. Maybe I'm a little friendly with Eli Lilly because they're a Hoosier and they make shit here in Indiana as opposed to overseas. So
Yeah.
I give a little credit for that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Give
it's
him a little bump.
right, but they get a little bump. They're still come on. They're building a whole new campus that Indiana taxpayers are on the bill for $550 million for. Why? You don't make enough money to build your own facility? So see,
Wow.
I'm not a fan. I'm just giving them a bump because at least they do it here and
Yeah.
not overseas
And
like
not in Vietnam or Thailand.
Moderna and
Yeah.
Pfizer and
Yeah.
China. So right, these are. But the price is the price. How you pay for it? Do you want to pay for it with your tax dollars, or do you want to pay for it on demand as needed in cash?
In cash. Yeah.
So the subject of drug shortages came up, and there's been a lot of interesting debate on this, and I've got a pretty solid theory on this. So let's just say all things are equal. Trump says yes, the fat shot. Dude, it's just so funny to say. I'm going to keep using that as an example. I know the drug name is Ozempic, but Trump called it the fat shot. So let's just say Trump says the fat shot is now $40, and everybody in America goes, "God, we haven't seen a shortage since World War II. Are you kidding me? There's not going to be a shortage." Okay, so you're taking a $1,400 designer drug. You're
Right.
making it $40.
Right.
Now, anybody who wants to take the fat shot can just get an appointment with a doctor on a televisit on
Tell
a
them, yeah.
phone. I'm fat. I need the fat shot, doctor. They write a prescription. So let me lay it out this way. The F100 series is the best-selling American automotive product.
Ever
They
in the history of ever.
they ain't cheap. So let's say on average, just the average, and this would include the cheap fleet models all the way up through King Ranch,
King
70,
Ranch, yeah.
75 grand, brand
Yep.
new, average price. So
And if you go F-250, it's 100 grand.
100 grand. So Trump says all F200 series trucks, 250 series trucks are now $10,000. Every single person in America is going to want an F250. That's where the shortage comes in. So when they were talking about drug shortages, they're talking about demand. Demand is going to go up
Right.
massively for some of these designer drugs.
Sure.
And there's no way they're going to be able to produce it, especially at that amount of loss. They're just going to be like, I don't really
I don't
care.
know what that means. I don't know what that means.
All right, so do you think, all right, let's go back to the F-250, right? $100,000 truck. Trump
Right.
says, you know what? That's not fair. We're going to make it $10,000. Don't you think everybody in America would be at the Ford dealership trying to buy an F-250?
Oh yeah, I
Now
would.
that
Yeah.
now, oh, I'd want 5,
Well, yeah,
right?
buy a fleet.
Right. So, all right. So now there's none left. Ford can't make them fast enough. That's the shortage.
Okay.
So switch that to the fat shot. Everybody
Ozempic.
wanted, everyone wants the Ozempic. It's $40 now. Everybody who's able to get it gets it, but they can't produce. They just can't produce it. They can't keep up with the demand. This is where the shortage comes in that people are talking about. And Americans haven't. We've never seen shortages. We really haven't. Not none of
No, we
us.
don't. Yeah, we don't suffer any of that. Yeah.
It's typically. I mean, toilet paper. That was a weird one during
Ah,
COVID, but that
yeah.
that was just people being retarded. But
Right.
so that this pricing thing that he's talking about would cause drug shortages. It would. And I didn't think it would at first, but I had to really look at it and go, well, if you're deflating the price that far, you're going to drive demand up way higher than the schedule of production.
Right.
And so it will become, these things will become unavailable.
Oh, okay. Now I
That
understand what you're saying. Yeah, 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 yeah. I get it. Yep. But the other part of that is Ozempic is not over the counter. So you
right.
have to go through your medical professional and get a uh, prescription for it, right?
COVID made an app for that. Hi, doc. See me? I'm fat. I need prescription written, sent to your what pharmacy address? Yeah, all right. It'll be ready in 30 minutes. And COVID totally changed the game in that. Telehealth. They won't have to show up. They won't have to get a GP
Yeah,
appointment. They
yeah.
literally can get on an app. There's many of them out there. That company, Snoop Dogg used to advertise for it. Hims. Uh,
Hims, yeah, yeah,
all telehealth. There's not a single
yeah.
office you can go to, or
Could you
whether it's
imagine? I know you're Gen X, but you're barely Gen X. Just by like a year or two. So, can you imagine having an app that you could throw down and order up Quaaludes like
right.
lemon 714s? You know, you know what I mean? Where you're like, I'm going to Pink Floyd tonight. I need me a half a dozen. You know, let me
You know,
throw down on my app. And
it's funny you said that. So the app, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It was something. It was popular years ago because of all the different goofy like filters you could use. Called Snapchat.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
and
yeah, I know
so like you would
Snapchat. Yeah,
we paid attention to it because our kids had it, and so we were like just helicoptering what they were doing on the
yeah,
internet.
on it. Yeah,
And,
I got it.
and you kiss my ass if you think I'm wrong for doing that, but I totally did. But so we participated in with it. Like I started reading stories over. So Drudge Report died. I'm gonna tell you guys the best place for the best news aggregator that replaced Drudge is called Citizen Free Press. It's run by Citizen Kane out of Columbus, Indiana.
Okay.
CitizenFreePress.com. And he was running stories over there, running headlines about how literally there was rings built on like groups built on the Snapchat app where teenagers were able to procure drugs. And the reason the stories broke is because they were trying to get like ecstasy, things like to go to parties, right, or go to
Yeah,
a
yeah,
concert.
yeah, yeah. I got you. Yeah.
Like, but the obviously this isn't an era. This is within the last 10 to 15 years where things were laced with fentanyl, and kids were ODing, kids were dying, and they were tracing it back, and it was going back to this app, Snapchat. The dealers had figured out, well, it's easier to sell on the internet than it is to stand on a corner and wait for Agent
Yeah.
Paul to come fuck me up.
Yeah.
Markets work the way they work, legal or not. That's the way it is. So, well, I don't know, Paul. As much as I've beat up Trump's executive order, do you still want it to happen?
Yes.
I look.
100%. I want it to happen. I
I
don't
listen.
want to be whatever the venue, whatever the way it happens. I do not want to pay 1,000% profit to a pharmaceutical when they're selling it to other countries at a lower price. I I just I really draw the line in the sand. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're not doing Ozempic for $4 a pill in Thailand and it's $1,400 a pill in the US. I got pockets full of go fuck yourself. We're not doing that.
So,
So,
are you okay with raising the effective tax rate to about 70% to cover all of that cost?
well, so I'm actually on the fence about that, Sean,
Sure.
because I think there are other ways uh, that people smarter than you and me could think about and come up with a plan other than just that. I just don't think that's actually the best way to go. I think it's I'm not going to say knee jerk, but I'm going to say it's the immediate response. Oh, we're gonna, we'll do this, we'll do that, that kind of thing. Hang on a minute, boys. Let's think about this for a little bit and come up with some kind of system, that's realistic. So, yeah, I don't agree with that part of it.
Well, and I think that brings the conversation. What's Donald Trump actually trying to accomplish? Because it doesn't matter what Donald Trump says. I've been clear about that since his first term. If you've heard Paul and I talk in pit spaces, it doesn't matter what he says. Just calm down. Calm
Yep.
down. What matters ultimately is the deal. And I really think Donald Trump wants to fix the American healthcare system.
Yes.
Even though it's already the best in the world, we all know we have our own personal complaints with it. We have our
Right.
own bad experiences with it. The American people want it to be even better than it is. And I
Yep.
think that's where he's going. I just think this was conceived from bad information on
Yeah.
this executive order. And I'm telling you right now, there is nothing in this executive order that has any teeth. It can't, like, the drug companies continue to could do whatever they want.
Yeah,
Like,
it didn't shut down any of that, Sean.
there's nothing in it. Like, if they
Yeah.
want to continue charging $1,400 for a fat shot,
Yeah.
there's no enforcement
Nope.
in this executive order whatsoever.
At all. Yeah.
It's just like, do it because I said do it.
Yeah.
So that might that might be a bad look on Trump later, but Trump's human. Trump puts people around him, and he took bad advice in 16 a term. He's taken. He's going to take bad advice in this one. I think this is a
Sure.
bad way to go. Bad. Just like this bad executive order. What I do hope is that this sparks a conversation again in Congress
Right.
to
Right.
fix healthcare. So what you actually need is more competition, because you've got just like Google is a monopoly into separate smaller companies. Pharmacy benefit managers like CVS Caremark are absolutely a dominating monopoly,
Oh,
and
sure.
so and
Lilly, uh, all of them.
yeah. And so, like, if you even want to get your drug into, oh, hold on, if you even want to get your drug into, say, a Walgreens or a Walmart, or you have to get on this PBM list. It, hold
So what
on,
is that?
pharmacy benefit manager. Yeah, I'm doing two things at once. I think Edward wants to
So
join.
so is that something you
Th-
have a drug, your Pfizer or Lilly or one of the ones, and you're like, hey, I want to be able to disseminate this through your company. What is
yeah,
what is
like,
that? What is
so
the
and so so the pharmacy benefit manager, PBMs, you're going to start hearing them more about this on the news. They've been around for a long time. Well, Walgreens had one at their own time. They had their own. CVS has their own. CVS obviously defeated Walgreens and the pharmacy business. We've told that story before. It's sad.
yeah,
It's sad to see.
that's a
It's sad to
horrible
see an
story.
American.
Walgreens fucked it up.
Sad
Yeah,
to see an American company become
yeah.
European or the United Kingdom owned. That being said, so the PBM, say CVS Caremark, the pharmacy benefit manager says, if you want to be on my schedule and you want something that will cover in any of our pharmacies that we provide this pharmacy benefit manager to, sounds a lot like insurance, because it is a lot like insurance. That's a pass through on cost. They negotiate prices. So they say, hey, fat shot drug company, I will sell it in all of my uh, 30,000 available pharmacies nationwide through
Right.
different companies.
Right.
And I will make them sell it for the specific price, but you're going to pay me 40% of your profits. That's then they negotiate. So the like the actual pharmaceutical manufacturer, gets a lot of you think they're making profits. A lot of that gets sucked up by a PBM. Then a little bit more of it gets sucked up by the insurance company. And then finally, the last bit of money goes to the retail pharmacist who actually hands you the prescription and says, "Do you have any questions about this?"
Okay. Yeah.
So we need competition in that.
So yeah, so you need competition to drive that to bring the prices down because if Lilly is the only one making venlafaxine, you also need another company that makes venlafaxine
Yes.
at a cheaper price,
Yes.
and then you're saying the middleman, which is
PBM.
Caremark or Walgreens or
It's the pharmacy
Walmart
benefit
or
manager.
whatever, they
Farm.
make their own deal with the manufacturer,
Yep.
and then that gets. So what happens after that, Sean?
What's up, Edward? I just want to say hi to Edward real quick. Thanks for joining us.
Gentlemen, hello,
So,
Paul.
manufacturer makes a drug. It's a cool drug. They get a patent, 30 to 50 years, right? They should probably have the patent because they paid a ton of money in research and development. We allow that. That's right now, that's fine. That's the way we've been doing things in America, and the rest of the world follows suit because we design all the drugs. We manufacture them around the world, and the whole world benefits off of the science community out of America with as far as drug manufacturing. Now, if you want to sell that drug, you have to put it into pharmacies. How do you do that? Well, you have to get on what's called a schedule. So it could be through some Medicare and Medicaid have their own schedules. Blue Cross has a schedule, Cigna has a schedule. But then there's something in between called a pharmacy benefit manager, and we don't have enough of those, which is also another negotiating body that takes a cut out of the top. Right? So Eli Lilly makes I don't know. Some penicillin. Let's just go with penicillin. You need penicillin because your goddamn kid went to the bar last night, and you know what your goddamn kid did. You got to get him a shot of penicillin. so,
Yeah, yeah, butt fucking does that. Yeah.
so,
Oh my
so,
gosh.
all right. So, all right. So there's a company that manufactures it, but they can't sell it anywhere unless they get on the list, right? Well, there's a cost. It's like the mafia. There's a cost to doing business. You gotta be on this list, whether it's through an
Who
insurance
controls the
provider.
list, though, Sean?
So it's the insurance providers have some control. The pharmacy benefit managers. Now, here's what I'm going to say about pharmacy benefit managers. There's far too few of them, so they have massive negotiating power, and they can take a lot of the profit of a drug sale out from the manufacturer and out
Oh,
from
out
the
from the
pharmacy.
manufacturer. Yeah.
Because if you want, so you want to sell, say, I got all CVS's, all Walmart's, and all Kroger's pharmacies in my schedule. You want to sell your Fat Shot. You got to pay the price I tell you I'm going to pay for. You got to sell it to me for the price I tell you I'm going to pay for it. And you're like, no, it's $900. Pharmacy benefit manager goes, then you don't have access to our 20,000 locations in America.
So is it actually arbitrary? I mean, is it actually like somebody goes, yeah, we're gonna do $1,000 on this one, bro?
No. Wait. So when the manufacturer makes it, they have a number what they need to hit to get a 10, 15, 20% profit margin
Yeah, they
on.
want an ROI on it. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you might have a pharmacy benefit manager that says that's great. You can sell it to some other pharmacy benefit manager that only has access to 4,000 pharmacies. We have access to 25,000. Nobody's going to be able to buy your drug, even if the doctor writes a prescription.
I gotcha. Okay.
Right? Where do I go?
So so what I'm thinking is right now, you being Edward are in the wrong line of business.
Yes, we all should have went into
Because I've never
pharmaceuticals.
heard of any kind of return on investment like this. This is god dang, dude.
I know. Yeah. Where do we
Tough,
sign
Edward.
up? We're gonna have to sign up for new jobs. Is what I say. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Pharmacy was hot. Pharmacy was really hot up until about 10 years ago. Basically until Obamacare. The pharmacy was hot. We were all
Yeah.
making money. Lots of money. And our customers, for the most part, were fairly happy with the service we gave them.
I gotta say, telecommunications is another one. Remember, we talked about that. There's a lot of industries we should have stuck with rather than what we got into. We
Yeah.
got jobs. We should have got one and done. In other words, one term, maybe 5 years, and we're out. That's how much money
Yep,
we could
that's
be
right.
losing. We'd be cleaning up. We'd be banking large. Hear me?
Oh, I know. Well, the only reason I left retail pharmacy was because I was missing everything my kids did. I mean, 70, 80 hours a week, 12-hour shift on Christmas Day. Like,
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
yeah. That's no
I was
good.
willing to take the pay cut
Yeah.
so I could see the
You
kids.
need to be in the defense industry where we work, 28 to 30 hours a week.
10 to 2?
Yeah, 10 to 2 with
With
an
an
hour
hour
for
for lunch.
lunch, and you make 150 an hour. Yeah, that's where you need to be, Sean.
I know. Well, I've been trying. I can't get past their
No,
stupid
no,
AI.
you're not trying. You 3 times you said you were going to send me your resume and we were going to do something, and you fucking didn't do it. So
I did do it. Anyway, and I'll do it again. Yeah.
The
I can
military.
do it. Totally send it to you. Well, no. The argument, and just with any other thing, and we can all agree with this, is getting past the AI. I'll send stuff, send resumes,
I
apply
hate
for
it.
things. And I'll like 30 days later, I'll get a notice from the app that I'm using to apply for a
Yep.
job, and it says your resume still hasn't been reviewed by a
Yeah.
human.
Yep.
By a human.
Yep.
What? You
I
don't
hate
know,
that. I
and you
fucking-
literally your
It is
AI
the worst thing.
has no idea what you're missing out on.
Right.
And-
So
and-
if you don't have a personal Rolodex in government, you're not getting a job.
right.
If
Not
you
that
don't
one.
have a guy that's a retired 2-star, and you go, hey man, remember when we went out and got drunk, went to the titty bar? He's like, oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, send me your resume, and then he got a job.
It's so true because it's not what you know, people. It's the who you knows. It's always been that way, though. Always.
Siri just came up and said, I don't know what a titty bar is.
Siri's behind. You gotta educate that thing there. What the heck's
Oh, she's
going on?
Methodist. She doesn't know.
No, he doesn't know. Alexa knows though. Alexa would know, but Siri no.
No.
Alexa's
have you guys tried Grok Voice yet?
Oh, yeah, I use it all the time, dude.
Wicked awesome. It makes me think that my Apple device and my Alexa device, that like when I thought that was like high tech AI, I'll ask it questions that I'll ask Grok, and it's just like I can't answer that. I'm like, where was this technology, and why did it take Elon having to get mad that our free speech was getting taken away for him to jump in the game?
Yep.
What kind of questions are you asking in this thing that I can't answer? Give me an example.
Oh, ask your Apple phone about Tiananmen Square.
And it can't answer that?
It won't.
Maybe it's restricted.
It's restricted.
Maybe mowing down some university kid with a tank is, restricted access information.
100% it's restricted information, but like there's all kinds of other things. They'll do some basic math, but try asking it like some more serious math about how much would it take to get 5,000 tons of mass off the Earth. It's gonna say I'm not sure. Grok Voice will answer that for you.
Will it?
It'll.
So I've gone to Grok Voice and said I need a transition plan to stand up a logistics program in San Salvador in a 90-day, within 90 days. And that, holy shit, that's some bitch put that out. I changed like 2 or 3 words and I submitted it. And they're like, oh my God, you're the smartest guy I've ever seen. This is so cool. I can't believe you got this so quick. Man, we underestimated your abilities. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's how I am.
Dude, Edward, I'm gonna tell you 3 right now. Grok 3 is amazing, unbelievably amazing at what it can
But for
do.
what though? You gotta remember, the people programming this stuff, it's always their side of history.
There's nobody programming it.
Well, that can't be. It's got to be getting this information somewhere.
It's machine learned. It's scraping the internet.
Well, the information they're hiding from you, they're not getting. They're only getting the information.
They're not hiding. It's a large language model.
It's what?
Yeah,
it's a large language model.
I didn't get that.
Sorry, that was the F-250 series. That's what blanked out the noise. Large language model. It's a learning model. So it has access to everything that's ever been written on X, right? And it has access to search the web. And it does that at lightning speed.
It sure could. And I understand what you're saying. Whatever's on the web and hasn't been stricken off it, right? You see where I'm going with this? Whatever university has the libraries filled with the books that they want to have in the library. In other words, Immanuel Kant is not going to be in the libraries because they took them out. I know that because I went there and didn't have them because they didn't believe in what he said. So of the available material that you're allowed to download, or this new program, Grok, is allowed to, that information, but what the information that's not put in there is what I'm saying. Now do you understand? I'm not getting all the information, people. I know that. I've tried that already. I've already gone through all this already.
Let me see if I can find unhinged mode. Ooh, start talking. Hey, Grok, does Canada have a king?
That's an easy one.
Canada doesn't have a king, you maple syrup guzzling fuckwit, but it's still chained to the British monarchy like a bitch on a leash. King Charles III is the head of state, a ceremonial figurehead who probably spends his days jerking off to portraits of his own crown while Canadians pretend they give a shit. The real power is with the Prime Minister, that whiny little cunt Justin Trudeau, who's too busy shoving quotas up everyone's ass to notice the country's turning into a frozen dystopia.
Is that Grok?
Canada wanted a real king.
Okay.
Not only Grok, it's Grok 3.
Oh. That's Grok 3? Wow.
Unhinged mode. Unhinged mode.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you're right. So, see, some of the data was wrong. And still thought Trudeau was prime minister, which is correct. With any of these LLMs, with any of these AIs, it's only as good as the data available to it, which is correct,
Right.
Edward.
I know. I went through this with a guy that didn't know the information. I gave it to him. He says, "Well, where are you getting that from?" You know, and he said, "I searched. You know, it was Grok or something else. Maybe it was Chat GTP. I don't know, but it's not there. I can't find it." I says, "Yeah, I know it's not there because they weren't allowed to have it downloaded there. That's why it's not there. They either struck it or they made it unavailable for it to get that information. But it's out there." But you just don't have it because that program doesn't carry it. Whatever it
So,
was, maybe it was Grok even. I don't know.
so I use Grok. I drove across something. Uh, it was a. It wasn't a historical marker. It was a like a Parks and Rec sign
Yeah.
that said Old Plank Road, and so I pull over. Yeah. What's Old Plank Road?
Yeah.
So I do a cursory internet search, and there's no such thing that exists in my area according to a search engine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I ask Grok. Grok says, "Oh yeah, there's old plank roads in Wisconsin and here and there." And I said, "No, no." So I'm helping train it. It goes, "Do you have any photographs of the area you were in, and can you describe it to me?" So I did. I posted a picture of the sign, a picture of the actual gravel road. It would have been a mud road.
Right.
They threw gravel on it by Parks and Rec so that it could still be traveled by horse.
Sure.
Uh, and then so we keep digging in. I say this is in a certain county in North Carolina, and it goes, "Oh, wait a minute, I think I found something." And it goes, "I found records for an old plank road called the Charlotte Lincolnton Plank Road Toll Road." And the original purchase price of the toll road that was paid by the Charlotte Lincolnton Toll Road Company was $200,000 in 1854, and they
Wow.
charged in this. So this is a wooden beam plank road to get heavy wagon across terrain. And right, like the big, massive
Yeah, was it
elevation changes we
bumpy or
have
whatever? Yeah.
in the Piedmont instead of running wagons on the mud, and it was 5 to 10 cents every couple of miles you paid a toll. So it wasn't that like we worked in conjunction with each other to come up with the actual solution and find the truth, and it actually found the original government document of sale by Mecklenburg County and Lincoln County, North Carolina too, the Mecklenburg
Wow.
or the Charlotte Lincolnton Toll Road Company in 1854.
Why
Holy
did
cow, that's cool.
not that I'm not taking anything away from it, but why did it take us so long to get to the answer though? That should already be there right away, pulled up memory banks, a long list of plank roads on all of America. You just pick the state, you know, and it should be bang like that. Why did it take us so long?
Well,
Well,
because
it took longer for Sean to tell the story because he's got a double-digit IQ than what actually happened using the grok.
so to
So
answer
you just got to understand that, Edward.
No, I thought he was flipping through the pages at the local clerk's office here. That just trying to find out more
to
information.
answer that,
I don't know.
so to answer that, you're correct. Not everything on the internet is indexed. So that's
Well,
why
no.
you can't find a lot of stuff on a search engine. Just a standard Google, Bing, Yahoo, whichever one
Yeah,
you want to
there's no
use.
Dewey Decimal
It's not all.
System
There's
on the
not, and
internet.
it's not all indexed.
Are we are we back to the Dewey Decimal? Oh my god!
So AI is a tool. You can use that tool, and I effectively use the tool to find out about this basically 30-mile long toll road from what 175 years ago, 150 years ago. That I just thought it was fascinating that I ran across
That
this
is
sign
awesome.
one day.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating. But my point is, if we're going through history, depending on who you want to listen to history wise, and I got into that with the Islamic religion, the Muslims, and why they couldn't find the information I had, why they didn't have that. Now, are you guys just deliberately holding that from the internet, or what's the problem here? It should be all over every search engine, every GPT chat. It should be Grok. It should be right away, bang, bang. It should be right there. Say Islam, the whole thing should unfold before it in lightning speed time. And there, pick away at whatever question you ask it. It's already there. That's what I don't understand. People don't understand that that's not going to happen. They're not going to give you that information. If they don't want you to know something, if they say, COVID-19 is not really a real thing, you're not going to know that because you're going to push the opposite of that. So you're not going to know that it's really just a farcical, fanciful nightmare. You're not going to know that part of it. And that's why you're all directed down a certain path. You can't get off that path. You want to talk about, as you said, cataloging. This is where we're getting down those wrong paths. We can't go here because it won't let us go there. This is what I'm trying to tell you. That's how inaccurate it is. I'm not a believer in Grok or any of these programs because they lead you astray, as you can tell from my experience on this stuff. And the guy's name was Jay, by the way. Dr. Jay. It escapes me. But anyways, that's the guy that they couldn't find. How come? How come they're pushing him out from being well known? The name's on the tip of my tongue. And it's gone. Had it again, but it's gone.
But the only Dr. J I know is Bacharetta, which he's got some weird ties to COVID in Florida. So I don't think that's the guy you're talking about. No.
What's that?
So to your point, Edward, that again has been one of Elon's biggest fears. So when he was a founder of OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, he thought they were trying to build something that was just going to be general purpose, general knowledge use for research AI, and he quickly left that company. And he just tried to buy it because it's super woke, woke.
Way too political. This is the problem we're having today.
Right.
What gets on the internet is all political, and that's my whole point. And that guy's name, Jay, I almost had it again. Gone.
Yeah,
I don't know, Jay. Could be Jay Silverhills.
It'll come to you tomorrow, right? When we're not running a show.
Oh, yeah.
It'll tell. But you know what you could do? You could jump on this on the X tomorrow. You can grab onto this and post below. I remember the name of the dude. It's JJ. Or whatever. Dr. J.
Dr. Hey, I know another Dr. J. I think he's basketball. But
yeah, didn't he play basketball? Didn't he play basketball?
He played very good basketball.
So look, I appreciate your hatred of AI, and I think it's warranted.
Well,
we're going there, so you're gonna have to learn to at least be around it, because everybody's gonna use it. Everybody.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
I'm just telling you, that may be true, but it's not going to be accurate.
They can tell you that literally at this point with Grok 3, you can tell it you're building a steel truss span for a roof this length and width, and it will give you the exact designs, and they're probably going to be accurate.
That I could see, yeah.
And that's the stuff. That's some of the stuff you can do with this. People write software programs. Proposals. You can write proposals with.
Oh yeah.
Grok with super good efficiency.
Yeah.
And you added a few words to make sure it doesn't sound like a robot.
And that's what we do. We take the RFP, drop it into Grok. Grok turns out I'd say a pink team ready, proposal. And then we have real human beings go in and, do a little editing, a little desktop publishing and stuff like that. And we won.
Add designs or design photos or pictures.
And we've actually won work just doing it that way. So, and it, instead of being $350,000 to bid a $200 million project. We're doing it for less than $18,000.
Mhm.
And so that for small business, that works out really well for us. So I use AI every day in my job, and my boss thinks I'm
You're
way
super.
smarter than I really am.
And so, Edward, all us old fuddy duddies are gonna have to just accept that this is gonna be the way. And so, when you're looking at things, you're gonna have to look at it, and you're gonna have to verify: does this look accurate to you? Does the numbers match? Does the tensile strength match? Does
Yeah.
the right? Like,
Yeah.
does it match what the AI machine could do? And they churn it out in literally minutes.
Oh, I can
Minutes.
see.
You give it very, very complex
Yeah.
questions, and it will give you a solution in minutes.
I couldn't even find the books that fast to turn the pages and find the answers. So yeah, I could see that being really quick.
Yeah.
So or I guess the different programs you have to again get into startup search. Yeah, would be so much quicker. But that's
Well,
natural science or natural law. I can see it being very proficient at that because there's just
Oh,
no
sure.
it's no
Yeah,
wrong answers.
absolutely.
It's not guesswork at that point. It's an actual quantitative thing that's already been measured, tested, and whatnot. So that should be easy, relatively, anyways. The rest of the stuff, however, how did history really go? The political stuff, that's not going to be. That's never. I can't see that being accurate at all.
Well-
Hey, by the way, that's going to have a lot to do. By the way, with the next upcoming show I was talking about is the dangers of psychology and the wordplay that they used against us, taking ordinary Christian words, for example, from any dictionary, and then making these new words up, to kind of almost bounce on the real meaning, but not quite. That's we got to really study and get into that because that's fascinating what they've done, and I've studied that I've wasted far too much of my life and time on that nonsense. That embarrassingly too much time than I
Well-
care to admit.
So are you going to do that on Fun Friday, or are we doing that next Tuesday on Yankee
Oh, I
and the
don't-
Canuck?
I have no idea. Friday, when is that? It's 2 days from now, right?
2 days from now,
Wednesday?
man.
I don't know. Let's talk.
You've been researching it for 30 years. You got to have
Actually,
the show ready.
more than 30 years. So let's see
Okay.
now. Obviously, I was 23, 24 to where am I now? How old am I now? How old? Wow. Yeah.
Hey, my dinner's ready. I gotta go.
Yep. See ya. We're bouncing
All right,
out.
see you
You
guys.
don't? Okay. See you, Paul. Yeah. Have a good
All
night.
right, I'll text you in a minute, Edward. See you guys. Have a
All
good
right.
night.
See ya. Okay. Good night.